Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Smart City Expo World Congress 2021. Welcome back to face-to-face interaction. Last year's event was virtual, so it's particularly nice to see all of you here in person. And, of course, a big welcome to those of you who are online. I'm Martine Dennis. I'm a journalist who spent decades, quite literally, decades trying to make sense of the world, usually on the television. And I'll be steering you through this event that I hope, well, no, I know you're going to enjoy. Now, back in 2011, a group of forward-thinking people decided to make life better for citizens around the world by focusing on how to build a smart society using innovative and sustainable ideas. Smart societies need smart thinking, so they harvested that knowledge and they shared it with the aim of improving the lives of all of us. Now, we've seen an enthusiastic uptake of many of those ideas that have already made life better for millions of city dwellers around the world. This year's Smart City Expo World Congress comes at a significant moment, and the urgency of all of the methods that we now have to adapt to our new condition. Of course, we've been continuing to experience the worst health crisis of, a century or so. And that has revealed such deep inequalities in our cities and beyond that we realize that in order to build back better, this has to be addressed. And, of course, we've reached this critical point in terms of the battle against climate change. So, lots to be done. This moment also marks the 10th anniversary of the Smart City Expo World Congress. In this decade, they've managed to create and nurture an international innovation community that's constantly developing ways to make our cities more humane. They've connected solution seekers with solution providers to disrupt the status quo. Disruption, I think, is a word we're going to hear quite a lot of. Key areas, of course, in mobility, infrastructure, and tourism are the areas that they have specifically targeted. Overall, they've developed a groundbreaking model of advocacy for a better urban world, and they plan to keep on doing it. That's why this year, on the 10th anniversary, they're expanding their vision to include even more themes that touch on the most pressing issues facing our cities. Today, 10,000, in fact, I'm told 12,000 people are due to attend this Smart City Expo, which is quite phenomenal. Perhaps that's an indication of how much we've missed one another. And also, at this event is the launch session of the Tomorrow Mobility Congress. Now, that's particularly, as the name implies, focusing on mobility and transport for the future. And Puzzle X. Now, that's a new initiative which is grasping the potential of frontier material technology. So all really exciting, really groundbreaking. All of these events support one another, and together they enrich the smart city ecosystem. So before I finish, a couple of words of housekeeping. The eagerly anticipated award ceremony this year is taking place a bit earlier than usual. Usually it's in the late afternoon. This year, it's going to be at midday on Wednesday, tomorrow, so don't miss that. And, of course, as ever, please remember to wear your masks. Right, let's get down to business. So my first job today is to introduce our hosts. Ugo Valenti, Director of Smart City Expo World Congress from here in Barcelona. Ugo.
Thank you very much all for being here. I'm so excited, really, to meet again in person. That's wonderful. So I remember when we started this 10 years ago in 2011, and it's been a very long ride since then. I remember at the time that we showcased the first batch of electrical vehicles. I also remember that cities existed mostly on PowerPoints. And I also remember that we discussed a lot about technology, about gathering plenty of data, and about installing sensors everywhere. So we were mostly thinking about creating utopian cities, in some cases even dystopian cities, but mostly sci-fi cities. But we have learned a lot since then. And the most important thing is that we understood that we needed to put the citizen at the center of the discussion. Because technology is only a means to an end. It is important, but it is a means to an end. So we have learned a lot since then. Last year, on 2020, we couldn't meet here due to the pandemic. But we took advantage of that, and we launched a very cool digital platform called Tomorrow.City. Tomorrow.City is like the Netflix for smart cities, and this year we're taking advantage of that, and we're having a specific digital program to all those audiences that cannot come and make it here over to Barcelona. But this year we get to meet again in person. And let me say that I believe that this is probably one of the most crucial editions that we're facing. This is an important edition because we get to gather together again. We get to network with each other. We get to meet with our peers. We get to learn and exchange ideas and do business together. And this is very important because together we are the cities we make, and we will create a better future. During the 3 days, we will have over 12,000 visitors coming from more than 110 countries from all over the world. You will get to see in the exhibition area over 450 solutions and products from our exhibitors. And you will get to listen to almost 400 speakers here. And for the first time ever, and I'm very happy to say that, together with the digital and the physical program that we're having, we have more female speakers than male speakers here, and I wanted to congratulate Pilar Conesa and her team. Wonderful job. It's been difficult. It's been difficult, but we did it. We finally did it. Together with Smart City Expo Congress, we are launching 2 new co-located events. The first one is Tomorrow Mobility. Tomorrow Mobility, in which we're joining forces with the EIT Urban Mobility, co-founded by the European Union, is going to become the most relevant and important event in the world for urban, sustainable, and intelligent mobility. Believe me and trust me on this. In 10 years from now, you will come over and you will see that Tomorrow Mobility is as big as Smart City Expo or even more. So thank you, Maria, for that. And please go ahead, and we will do a wonderful job. And we're also launching, at the other end of the pavilion, PuzzleX. PuzzleX is dedicated to what we call frontier materials and deep tech. This is a very important event because we need to build a more resilient and sustainable society using a different type of materials. So this is the first edition of PuzzleX, and I'm very sure that it will help us build a better world. So please, enjoy this event, spend the next 3 days talking to your peers, discussing, exchanging ideas, and doing wonderful business, and have a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hugo. Thank you. Right, now let's now welcome to the stage Maria Savatidis, who is president of Tomorrow Mobility, one of the main features of this expo. So let's welcome Maria to the stage.
Thank you so much, Hugo, for the kind introduction. This is a special moment for us. We are overjoyed to co-organize Tomorrow Mobility with Fira de Barcelona, and congratulations to Fira and the whole team for this great achievement of 10 years of Smart City Expo. Look, I'm already putting the two things together. So the mobility sector is in a many generations change process. We cannot wait for the future to happen 10 years or 20 years from now. The actions that we take today, the innovations that we implement today, this is what's going to shape our future and that of the generations to come. So we want Tomorrow Mobility to be that platform of change. The platform that brings together the innovators with those that have the power to implement their solutions. So Tomorrow Mobility does not end in 3 days. It is what happens after that matters. It is the innovations that will get implemented, the startups that can scale up their solutions in cities. But for now, as Hugo said, let's enjoy this time together in this physical space, because this space between people is where magic happens. So let's make the change we need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you. Right, so now it's time for us to introduce our guest speakers. As Ugo was saying, we've got speakers, around 400 speakers from all around the world, and maybe 120 countries, I think is the number that he mentioned. Well, let's introduce our guest speakers to start the ball rolling. Can I welcome to the stage Jambon, Minister-President of the Government of Flanders in Belgium, Aníbal Gaviria, who is the former mayor of Colombia's second largest city, Medellin. He's now the governor of Antioquia. That's the region, of course, of which Medellin is the capital. Jaume Collboni, Barcelona City Council. Hello.
How are you?
How nice to meet you. Hello.
Hello. Nice to meet you.
And Jordi, Puigneró, Vice President of the Government of Catalonia, Minister of Digital Policies and Public Administration, and we'll also be hearing from Maimunah Mohd Sharif, who's the Executive Director of UN Habitat. But first, can I invite to make his remarks is Jaume Collboni of Barcelona City Council.
Good morning, bon dia, buenos dias. It's a great pleasure on behalf of the City Council, and especially for me, to receive all of you in our city, especially those who come from far away throughout the world, because this is a collective success that after the shock of the COVID pandemic, we are here now, able to get together again to celebrate this 10th edition of the Smart City Expo World Congress. Ja fa 10 anys es va iniciar aquesta aventura, aquesta aposta, que consolida Barcelona com a un referent internacional en innovació urbana. Aquesta setmana ens reunim de nou aquí per debatre i compartir experiències per millorar les nostres ciutats i sobretot per millorar la vida dels ciutadans i les ciutadanes, per seguir aprenent els uns als altres, per seguir escoltant, com s'ha dit a la intervenció i a les presentacions, i donar respostes als enormes reptes que té les nostres societats amb una dècada decisiva per assolir els objectius de l'Agenda 2030 de Nacions Unides. El lideratge de les ciutats és, en aquest sentit, clau, determinant per afrontar els reptes econòmics, ambientals i socials a què ens enfrontem en aquesta etapa de postpandèmia. I per això l'Smart City Expo World Congress és avui més necessària que mai. Celebrem la tornada a la presencialitat i sobretot celebrem poder seguir innovant junts en aquesta trobada. No cal que repetim els missatges que han sortit tot just fa uns dies de Glasgow. Som conscients que som en aquesta dècada decisiva. Tal com hem vist en la COP26, els governs de les nacions fan el seu camí, no sempre fàcil, per avançar en el progrés col·lectiu, però és a les ciutats del món on hi ha un terreny més fèrtil on sembrar la innovació i recollir solucions pràctiques. On podem passar del bla, bla, bla a l'acció. I això, aquí a Barcelona i a totes les ciutats del món, és on ens agrada parlar i centrar el debat. Barcelona té un pla, en aquest sentit, el Barcelona Green Deal, l'agenda econòmica per la ciutat per l'any 2030, un pla a través del qual hem compromès els objectius de la ciutat amb les directius del Green Deal europeu i de l'Agenda 2030 de Nacions Unides. Un pla basat en iniciatives que afronten de forma simultània sostenibilitat social, econòmica i ambiental, sense que cap comprometi a les altres i sense deixar ningú enrere. La propera dècada ens exigeix impulsar la Twin Transition, aquesta doble transició ecològica i digital, amb solucions concretes, viables i compartides per tothom. Solucions com les que compartíem aquests dies a l'Smart City Expo, un esdeveniment que en aquest 10è aniversari no s'entén sense la ciutat de Barcelona i que ja forma part del seu ADN y de esta gran institución que es Fira de Barcelona. Esto no sucede por casualidad. Barcelona es capital digital y emprendedora. Barcelona tiene en su ADN la innovación y el emprendimiento y eso se traduce en la voluntad decidida de liderar y estar a la vanguardia de la transformación digital. Somos una ciudad que ha conseguido consolidarse con la capitalidad mundial del móvil. Barcelona ya es uno de los centros en estos momentos de reflexión sobre el humanismo tecnológico y de cómo poner al servicio de las personas todas las innovaciones y las transformaciones tecnológicas y digitales. Somos de las 5 ciudades europeas en mayor producción científica y en innovación, gracias a un magnífico que veremos aquí, ecosistema de investigación y de innovación pionero a nivel internacional. Barcelona es una ciudad abierta al mundo y especialmente abierta al talento del mundo, que apuesta por ese conocimiento como la clave del progreso y de la competitividad de su economía, de una economía diversificada basada en el talento. Y por eso, desde la ciudad de Barcelona, centramos nuestros esfuerzos en impulsar, retener, atraer y recuperar talento en todos los sectores estratégicos de la economía del futuro. Tenemos un plan, el Barcelona Green Deal, generamos espacios de diálogo donde compartir experiencias. Este es el caso del Smart City World Congress y, además, los datos corroboran que, efectivamente, en la reactivación de nuestra economía vamos por delante. It was more than 150 years ago when Barcelona was the cradle of urban innovation, where the very discipline of urban planning was created by Ildefons Cerdà, right here in Barcelona. And today, in gatherings like the Smart City Expo, we are still innovating how we should build and transform our urban environments, using the top know-how and technology innovations that we have at hand. Barcelona va ser la ciutat d'Ildefons Cerdà que va concebre fa més de 150 anys la disciplina de l'urbanisme com a tal, com avui l'entenem, i on es va aplicar amb determinació per primera vegada el seu pla per la Barcelona que avui coneixem. Per això, Barcelona ha estat i vol seguir sent un centre o un epicentre mundial de la innovació urbana. Muchas gracias, thank you very much, muchas gracias, buen congreso, esperamos mucho de vosotros y de vosotras, de vuestras aportaciones, reflexiones, que seguro nos van a hacer contribuir a tener unas mejores ciudades. Muchas gracias y suerte con el congreso.
Jaume, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Your mask, of course. Jaume, thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Now, for those of you who aren't polyglots like Jaume, remember there is a simultaneous translation available at the back there, I believe, is where you can get the headsets. Next of our guest speakers is Maimunah Mohd Sharif. She is the Executive Director of UN Habitat. As I mentioned before, we're going to be hearing a video message that she's recorded for us. She is the first Asian woman in the role. She was formerly Mayor of Penang Island, Malaysia. So let's listen to Maimunah Mohd Sharif.
Distinguished global participants of the Smart City Expo World Congress, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, the ongoing pandemic truly revealed the weaknesses of urban systems around the world. Urban areas are complex systems. Without everybody's involvement and without a holistic and comprehensive approach to urban development, we might be just building vulnerabilities. We must be prepared. We must build resilience. We must take a holistic approach to crisis situations. We must think about multi-hazard, multi-stakeholder, and multi-sectoral when it comes to planning and building our cities. Making cities resilient and secure environment for inhabitants to live in, leaving no one and no place behind, must be our collective goal. UN Habitat has worked in a number of cities to calibrate a methodology and tools that provides concrete recommendations for actions in order to build resilience that is based on a solid assessment of urban elements' functionality. Evidence-based decision-making is the only way to build resilience in cities in an urbanizing world. We are at the pivotal moment of recovery. UN Habitat is strengthening the capacities of local governments to design, implement, and monitor sustainable, resilient, and inclusive COVID-19 economics and financial responses, recovery, and rebuilding plans. We need people-centered smart cities. Inequalities in cities is the main challenge in this new decade. It is fundamental that we take the issue of digital inclusion, digital rights, and digital capacity seriously. At the Expo, UN Habitat will launch a series of people-centered smart city playbooks that will help cities to develop digital policies that put people at the center, tackle sustainable development goals, and make governments more open, transparent, and collaborative. I urge you to implement concrete policies, standards, and pilot projects to leverage the power of digital technologies and the collective intelligence of people to tackle the urban, environmental, and social challenges in cities. Thank you very much.
So Maimunah, Mohd, Sharif, their video recording from UN Habitat. Next, I'm pleased to introduce to make his remarks Aníbal Gaviria, who is governor of Antioquia. That's the region of Colombia, of which Medellin is the capital. Over to you.
Un saludo muy especial para los compañeros del panel de introducción de Smart Cities, un saludo para todos los asistentes. Gracias, Pilar, por esta invitación y a todo el equipo de Smart Cities. Con Pilar hemos conversado mucho desde hace más de una década acerca de qué es una Smart City, qué debe ser una Smart City. Y nosotros desde Medellín, desde Antioquia, hemos ido construyendo siempre una posición, como Hugo lo decía, de alguna manera, una Smart City es la que pone en el centro a los ciudadanos. Y en ese sentido, nosotros hemos ido desarrollando y consolidamos cada vez más el concepto de ciudades para la vida como la esencia de una Smart City. La vida, el respeto, el cuidado, la defensa, la honra de la vida como la esencia de una Smart City. No sé qué será más inteligente que eso. Por eso yo quiero, Pilar, aprovechar esta ocasión inmejorable de Smart City, de esta apertura y de esta apertura 2 años después de tanta lejanía y de tanta distancia, para lanzar, digamos, desde aquí un reto o una propuesta global, desde esa visión de ciudades inteligentes y de ciudades para la vida. Ya hace poco terminaba COP26 y se ratifica esa propuesta y esa meta global en clave de uno de nuestros más grandes retos, que es el cambio climático, que es el carbono neutral para el 2050. Nosotros queremos proponer desde una ciudad y desde una región que han sufrido muchos ataques a la vida, lo que creemos debe ser el gran reto global, para el 2050. Llevar la esperanza de vida, que hoy está a nivel mundial en 73.5 años, a 90 años. No debe haber en nuestro concepto ningún reto que toque más fuertemente los dos grandes, las dos grandes tareas de la humanidad, que ha crecido tanto en acumulación de riqueza, que ha crecido tanto en tecnología, en la capacidad de grandes inversiones y grandes cambios de infraestructura, pero las dos grandes tareas junto al cambio climático son la desigualdad, la inequidad y el respeto por la vida. En esos temas todavía el mundo tiene mucho por hacer, mucho por conseguir. En ese gap de la esperanza de vida tenemos países que están entre 85 y 90 años y países como Sierra Leona, como Lesoto, como Nigeria, que están 55 años o algo por debajo. Es decir, una diferencia entre 30 y 35 años de esperanza de vida para los niños de esas ciudades y de esas naciones versus las de muchos otros en Europa, Norteamérica y parte de Asia. Ese debe ser el reto para las ciudades inteligentes, ese debe ser el reto para las sociedades inteligentes, el respeto por la vida. Aquí, por ejemplo, en contraste entre Somalia, uno de los países en donde hay más mortalidad infantil, y España, tenemos una diferencia de 3 niños que mueren entre 1000 en España, entre 0 y 5 años, y 133 que mueren en esa misma edad en Somalia. Y para comparar otro de los indicadores más duros en respeto por la vida, entre la tasa de homicidios de 0.7 en España por 100.000 habitantes contra 92 en Honduras por 100.000 habitantes, es decir, 130 veces mayor la tasa de homicidios de Honduras que de España. Ese reto es un reto global que nos llevaría en clave de pospandemia a hacer lo que de alguna manera como humanidad hicimos por 18 meses, levantarnos para defender la vida, a hacerlo en estos 30 años, 29 años del 2021 al 2050. Así que, Pilar, excúsame que utilice este escenario inmejorable de Smart Cities para proponer a las ciudades en general en el mundo y para proponer a las sociedades el reto central, llevar la esperanza de vida a nivel global por encima de 90 años al año 2050. Un abrazo y éxitos a esta renovada Smart Cities, la fundadora y la líder del concepto a nivel global. Un abrazo.
Thank you very much indeed, Aníbal Gaviria of Colombia. Muchas gracias. Now, Jambon of the government of Flanders, he's Minister President. He joins us now to make his contribution. Flanders, of course, a region of Belgium.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to open this year's Smart City Expo, the 10th edition already. Congratulations. As Minister President of Flanders, head of the government, I'm also responsible for digitization, a topic that lies close to my heart because I used to work in IT myself in former days. What struck me in the COVID-19 pandemic is the enormous acceleration of our digital transformation. Change is happening at lightning speed. This will probably also apply to Catalonia as it did for other European regions. Never before, governments need to adapt swiftly and radically to changing circumstances, changing rules and behavior, changing needs and changing solutions. And make no mistake about it, after the pandemic, we have more high-profile topics to handle, such as climate change, disruption of mobility, health and food, and so on. The use of technology alone won't fix a societal challenge. Technology always is a means to an end. It should also be about digital transformation, enabling change by the resulting force of technology, the power of data, and a well-developed strategy. These three elements are where the magic happens. That's why Flanders is a believer of the concept data spaces. In tomorrow's society, half of the solution is about having the correct data to work with. Today, this data is often locked in server racks in basements and inside complex siloed systems. It can take a lot of effort to unlock that data. Unlike electricity, data is not as standardized and does not flow naturally. There is no socket you can use to get the data. If you buy a toaster, you are sure you can plug it in at home and it will work. That's not the case yet with data. In a data space, there is such a socket. New applications and services can be developed on top of the existing data. Data should flow and should be brought to work. Is data the new gold? No, data can be the new gold if we unlock it and if data enables us to make better decisions and to develop new services. Unlocking data is a matter of trust. Would you share your sensitive company data with your competitor? Of course not. An independent player is needed that creates trust, that enables a level playing field to take part in the promising data economy. As we speak, Flanders is starting a data utility company for this specific cause. Just as we once did for electricity and other utilities, our generation needs to standardize, to unlock and exchange data as the most important utility. The private market will not solve this trust issue alone. It's up to the government to take action and to create that level playing field where all parties can safely take part. And what about the privacy of our citizens? That is what I call the data paradox. On the one hand, we all want services that are more personal and more proactive. On the other hand, we see a growing concern about what happens with all the personal data we share. How can we bridge this apparent lack of trust? I believe it's all about controlling the data, sharing the data in purpose, what is it for, and in time, surely not definitely. What if we can ensure that citizens are in full control of their own data, hands-on control on who can access and use their personal data? A series of new technologies are emerging that offer promising solutions. For example, the solid standard developed by Tim Berners-Lee in collaboration with Flemish universities. Solid brings users back in control of their own data. Data can be shared and used for next-generation services without the need of copying all the data and without losing the control over it. It is a very promising solution. And last but not least, I would like to stress the most important element of all, the need to collaborate. When it comes to digital, it's all about collaboration. Within Flanders, we have set up a series of ecosystems and collaboration structures to facilitate this. Everyone involved in the smart city ecosystem is represented in Smart Region Flanders, where governments and digital players meet with each other and find solutions for tomorrow's challenges. Flanders also actively seeks collaboration with like-minded regions across Europe. Flanders and Catalonia have had excellent political and constitutional contacts since centuries. In 2008, we signed a cooperation agreement. This agreement was followed by bi-yearly cooperation programs, and in the most recent one, 2020-21, with a continuous digital focus, going from a smart city to a smart region across borders of municipalities is key. Catalonia and Flanders are two regions who keep investing and sharing experience in innovation and technology such as solid, Internet of Things, cybersecurity, and so on. I'm very pleased I can discuss this further in the coming days with your Vice President, Jordi Puigneró, and his team. Ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude that the cooperation and collaboration between Catalonia and Flanders is firm and will get stronger. There is no doubt about this. Visca Catalunya, Visca Flanders.
Jambon there from Flanders. And our final speaker, guest speaker today is, as Jambon mentioned, Jordi Puigneró, who is Vice President of the Government of Catalonia, and he's the Minister for Digital Policies and Public Administration. Over to you.
Molt bon dia a totes i a tots. Good morning to everyone. It's a pleasure to welcome you today to Catalonia, to all the authorities that are here with us today. International authorities, local authorities, all welcome, and all the people that are interested in improving and having better cities around the world. It's already 10 years. I must congratulate all the team of the Smart City World Congress for continuing with this task of reinforcing what we all want, which is making better cities. And I think this event is today a reference event in the world. And it's the Smart City World Reference event today, being placed in Barcelona, and for that reason, that I think it's a very good news for us. Speaking last, sometimes it's a difficulty because everything I could say has been said about smart cities, and a lot will be said in the next days on what we think should be the smart cities of the future. We know what have been the smart cities of the past. And as it's been said, it was before just an Excel or a PowerPoint, and today it's a reality. And I'm sure that when we think about the smart cities of the future, it comes to us, I think, two main goals we all have in mind. One is to have, or to be, digital and connected cities. And the second one is to be greener cities, to be cities that are compliant with one of the most important goals that we have today, the humanity, which is fighting against climate change. But I think smart cities have also other objectives. One of them is to be better governed cities. And it's been said, here data and technology can help us in that purpose. So using technology in the right way, and having ethics and being human and having the humanity principles behind the technology will be very important on how we manage and how we govern these cities. But also, we want our cities to be more democratic, more transparent. We want the citizens to have confidence on its governments. And I think that the technology can help us that also in terms of participation, making the governments not only managing and governing for the citizens, but governing with the citizens. And obviously, we've had a very tough and a very hard year. 2020, I think, will be remembered for us all. The pandemic obviously has been a very sad thing for many citizens around the world. And I think that for this year, 2021, I think we have an extra duty for the people that we want to make our cities better. When I was coming here, I was thinking, since a lot has been said about the smart cities, what else could we say on what we have to do, I think, this 2021 and 2022? And I think that since we've had such a sad year, we should try to bring more happiness to our citizens. So I went to Google this morning and I put the sentence, what makes people happy? And tried to see what was the answer of Google to this question. And I found many different answers, which I will not explain to you. But in between all of them, there was a sentence, a quote from Sigmund Freud, the founder of modern psychology, that he had a much shorter list of what happiness should be. And he just said that happiness is a happy person, is a person that can love and can work. And in fact, to be connected emotionally to other people, to feel loved, I guess is a good way of feeling happy. And also to have a job, to feel useful. And I think that cities should also be concerned on how do we make our citizens, or to give our citizens opportunities in terms of job creation. I think having a job, people being able to be useful by themselves, it's a good contribution and it's the best social policy we can provide to our citizens. That is people having a job. And I think that for that purpose, it is very important that we understand the importance of talents and skills. If we don't make it possible and make our citizens skillful, digitally skillful, and that means also bearing in mind the importance of education for all our citizens to be in top of our priorities, it will be very difficult that in this new digital era, people will be capable of deploying themselves inside this new digital economy. So, just to end, as I said, it has been a very hard, a very tough year. Let's make let's make the life of our citizens happier by making our cities smarter. Thank you very much, i deixeu-me especialment donar les gràcies a tothom que avui està aquí present, els que han vingut de fora, els que sou d'aquí, especialment també als organitzadors per aquesta 10a edició. I en aquest sentit, permeteu-me que declarem inaugurada aquesta 10a edició, que esperem que ens permeti contribuir al futur de les ciutats i de les nacions digitals, perquè segur que serà la forma com contribuirem a la millora dels nostres ciutadans. Moltes gràcies i molt bon dia.